How you doing, guys? Big Waaagh Danskull here, back once again with another Ork video for you. Today it's going to be more knobs against Imperial Fists. So, as you guessed from the intro, the knobs are still trying to overrun this Imperial Fists battle cruiser, and in attempting to do so, there's more boys joining in, and I say boys, knobs. There's more knobs joining in, so it's a unit of five knobs taking on 2 units of 3 lots of Primaris Space Marines. We've got a squad of Reivers and a squad of 3 intercessors. So they're what's going to be taking on the knobs in this particular battle. The knobs are outfitted quite heftily. The danger with some power level battles is that some people don't like power level battles because they don't go into the minutiae of specifying points for weapons and stuff like that. It just gives you a power of 7 for knobs, for example, and the intercessor squad of power 5 and the Reaver squad of power 5 as well. So that's 10 power for the Space Marines. But depending on weapons loadouts and stuff, it can go the unexpected way. Not only that, an intercessor squad of power level 5 is actually supposed to be 5 intercessors, and 3 Reivers is actually supposed to be 5 Reivers for a power level 5 unit. However, with the easy to build Primaris Space Marines that came with Conquest, I've decided to go with the 2 squads of 3. It's 12 wounds against 10 wounds, so theoretically it should be quite balanced, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Let me know before you start watching the battle report who you think is going to win this one in the comment section below. I'll go to the battlefield now. As you can see in front of you guys, we've got some Space Marines on this side. We've got a squad of intercessors and a squad of Reivers that came with it in the first 3 issues of Conquest. And over on this side, we've got a squad of 5 Orks now. 5 Ork knobs. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Because they've all got different war gear. This guy's got a Power Claw and a Slugger. This guy, same, Power Claw and Slugger. This guy's got a Chopper and a Slugger, as has the fellow at the back here. And this guy has a shooter, a combi shooter, with a Scorcher. They all have stick bombs as well. And these guys over here all have bolt pistols, these heavy bolt pistols. These guys have the heavy bolt pistols and the combat blade, and these guys have the bolt pistols, and they also have bolt rifles as well, which give them -1 AP, and it's a 30-inch range weapon, so they get rapid fire at just 15 inches. Yeah, let's roll off to see who's going to get to decide who's deploying first. The draw. So the Orks are obviously got the green dice, and the Space Marines the sort of pearlescent dice. Imperial Fist get to choose who deploys first. I will come back after deployment. As you can see, they're deployed like they've deployed. So the first unit deployed was the intercessors, and the Orks deployed in the middle. I figured I've run this through a few times, and the Orks have got, as long as they can get into combat, they've got a good chance of just shredding through these Space Marines. Because the Power Claws are so powerful in combat. So I thought I'd just deploy the Orks in the middle this time and try and, it doesn't really matter which unit they try and take on first, but my thought was if I can get a decent advance roll, I can get them up here, and then get into the Reivers after that, or the Reivers can get into them. Either way, the Orks are going to do pretty well as long as they can get into combat, and it being a small battlefield, I'm sure they can get into combat. In this particular mission, which is the tutorial mission, but obviously with full rules from Conquest, whoever deploys the unit last gets to take the first turn, so that means the Space Marines will take the first turn. I'll come back after movement. So the Space Marines have now moved. The intercessors just moved down here to draw a line of sight to a couple of those Orks, not many of them. They can, as you can see, draw a line of sight to at least one of those Orks there. And the Reivers, just behind the container there, they're actually in charge range now of these Orks. So the plan for the Space Marines, the tactical thinking for the Space Marines is these guys want to stay as far away from them as possible, whilst these guys maybe thin out the numbers a little bit in combat. Let's come back after the... Oh no, let's do the shooting phase now. And yes, we'll see what happens. They're not quite within rapid fire range, so they're only going to get 3 shots, the intercessors, into the orcs. They're going to be hitting on 3s. Oh, just 1 hit there, absolutely dreadful. Got a wound on 4s. Wounds, and it's going to be a 5-up save because of that -1 armor penetration. Fails to save, so that is a wound on an orc knob already. I'll put it on at the guy with the flamer there at the back. Despite the fact that they can't see him, the orc player chooses where to put it. And then the Reivers, they're within 12 inches. I'll just double check actually, they might not all be within 12 inches. Handy measuring device there. Yeah, it's just the front guy that's within 12 inches. So he's just going to throw... he's going to use his pistol to shoot, and it's going to hit on 3s. Hits. It's going to wound on 4s. Fails to wound. I will come back after the charge. No, I'll just do the charge phase now for you. Let's just double check the distance on the charge. It is going to be a 10-inch charge. It'll just get him within 1 inch, 10 inches there. But the orcs get to fire Overwatch, of course. How many orcs are in range? That is the question. 12-inch range. There's only 2 orcs within 12 inches. So it's going to be 2 shots on Overwatch, hitting on 6s. No 6s. So 10-inch charge for the Space Marines. Are they going to make it? Oh, 9 inches. They're not going to make it. So close, but not close enough. So I'll come back after orc movement. So as you can see, the knobs have moved further up the battlefield there. I've measured it all out, and they can all shoot with the pistols. But this guy has got his Assault 2 weapon, which is a Combi Scorcher. And he is just within range of the front Reaver there. So he's going to get some Scorcher shots away. Let's see how many shots he gets first. He's going to hit. Well, he's going to get D6 shots. D6 hits rather, 4. And they're going to wound. It's strength 5, that weapon. They're going to wound on... they're going to wound on 3s. No wounds, absolutely dreadful. But the rest of the shooters and sluggers will go in. What I'll do first is the shooter for the guy with the combi weapon. He's going to hit on 6s because he fired the other part of his combi weapon, so it makes it harder to hit. And then I'll do the sluggers. They're going to hit on 6s. 5s rather, but no 5s or 6s. So it's onto the charge phase now. I'll just measure the distance of that charge. I should have really done that as I was measuring the range of the weapons. The nearest model, it's a 5-inch charge there for the nearest model. Nice and easy. They do of course get the here we go reroll if they fail the charge as well. They can reroll 1 or both of the dice. But they just need 5 inches. And they make it with an 8-inch charge. So, I'll come back once I've moved them all in. No, I won't. Ignore me there, because of course the Reivers get to fire Overwatch. I completely forgot that part. But I'll fire Overwatch for them now, hitting on 6s with the pistols. Oh, there is a hit there. And they are going to wound on... they're hitting on 6s, they're going to wound on 4s. Fails to wound anyway, so it makes no difference. So yeah, I'm going to move them up the 8-inch charge range that they got. And I'll come back once they're in combat. So as you can see, the orcs have made it into combat. They've made their piling moves and everything. And yes, let's make some dice rolls, shall we? So we are going to do the 3 attacks for the knob with the flamer weapon. Another 4 for each knob with the chopper. So that is going to be 11 attacks in total. And they're going to be hitting on 3s. That is 1, 2, 3 misses, so that is going to be 8 hits, and they are going to wound. Strength 5, let's not forget, they're going to wound on 3s as well. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wounds, so it's going to be 5 saves for the Reivers to make. Let's grab some Reaver dice, saving on 3 up. They failed 3 saves, so that's 3 wounds taken by the Reivers. Bad news there. So let's get rid of this guy. And let's get rid of... let's put a wound on that front guy there. Plonk that down. And then it's on to the Power Fists for the knobs. So the knobs get to hit on 4s with the Power Fists. They get only 3 attacks each. There's 2, or Power Claws rather, of course, not Power Fists. Power Fists are what Space Marines have. Power Claws hitting on 4s. Just 3 hits there, 3 misses. And they are going to wound on 2s because they are super strong. They're basically like Jaws of Life that the Fire Brigade use. So they're going to wound on 2s. That is 3 wounds. So let's roll a save for the first one. It's a 6-up save. Fails it. So that just kills the first guy straight away. There's no need to do the damage roll there. And then the Sergeant needs to make 2 more saving throws. So 6-up save. Fails it. Let's do a D3 damage roll. That is 2 damage. He's got 2 wounds, so guess what? He's dead as well. And then the knobs will consolidate up to 3 inches. So I'll just come down here. Three inches there. Let's not forget his wound marker. So the Reivers didn't even get to attack back there. It's devastating when these knobs get into combat. Yeah, let's see what happens. Onto Space Marine turn 2 now. So as you can see, the Reivers have moved further up the field of battle a little. They tried to just hug the edge of the battlefield here in order to keep as much distance between them and the knobs as possible. But they can now get the rapid fire shots off with their bolt rifles. So they're going to do so. They're going to hit on 3s. Oh, that is a lot of misses. 4 misses. This is really bad shooting from the Fists. They're going to wound on 4s. 2 wounds there. And that is 2 5-up saves for the knobs. Both failed, so that is another wounded knob and 1 dead knob. This guy's dead. And let's move that wound marker onto a guy with a chopper. Yep, so that is the end of shooting there. Would the intercessors like to try and charge? I don't think there's any point really. They could try and charge. It'd be a 10-inch charge if they were to do so. But realistically, they're not going to do an awful lot in combat against the knobs. The only benefit would be they would attack first, and they get 6 attacks. I do not know. Would it be better to charge, or would it be better to hope that the Orks fail the charge and they get to fire Overwatch? They're gonna get to fire Overwatch. They're gonna wait for the Orks to charge them. So we're gonna move on to Orc turn 2 now. I'll come back after movement. The Orks have made their move up, as you can see. I did contemplate going behind this container here, but it was going to make it a 10-inch charge to the Imperial Fists. So I figured it'd be better to go for the shorter charge. They will get to fire Overwatch, but yeah, the benefit would be if I went behind the container and hid behind the container, they would not get to fire Overwatch. But I figured it's worth risking the Overwatch shots for a more likely charge to come off, because obviously the Orks do much more damage in combat than in shooting, and they wouldn't have even got to shoot anyway. So it's onto the Orc shooting phase now. What I'm going to do is shoot 3. Let's just double check the range. I was going to say, yeah, they are just within range to throw a grenade there. They're just within 6 inches. But yeah, I'm going to shoot 3 sluggers. So they're going to hit on 5s. Oh, there's a 6 in there. That means with the Daka rule, I get to roll another dice for a shooting attack. Nope. So yeah, it's just 1 hit, and it's got a wound on 4s. Fails to wound anyway. I will, like I said, throw a stick bomb as well for the Orks. So they are going to get D6 shots. 3 shots. And that is going to be 5s to hit. No hits there anyway. So that makes no difference. It's a 5-inch charge then for the Orks to get into combat. But the Marines will get to fire 6 shots on Overwatch. So they're going to hit on 6s. Oh, that's 2 hits. They're going to wound on 4s. 1 wound, and it's a 5-up save because of that -1 AP of the weapon. Fails a save, so that is another dead orc. It's a chopper orc here. He's going to get taken out of action. And let's see if they can make that charge roll now, the orcs. They're going to get into combat on a roll of 5. That is easily into combat there with the 10-inch charge. So we'll come back once they're in combat. Straight into the combat now. The guy with the chopper is going to attack first. He's going to hit on 3s. That is 2 misses. He's going to wound on 3s as well. 1 wound. It's going to be a 3-up save for the intercessors. Made the save. Now it's on to the power claw attacks. 6 of them in total. They're going to hit on 4s. That is 2 misses. They're going to wound on 2s. 1 failed to wound there, but there's still 3 wounds going in. This could kill all 3 intercessors. 6-up save for the intercessors. Let's roll them 1 at a time. Failed the first one, and it's D3 damage, 2 damage. So that is 1 dead intercessor. I'll take this one out. 6-up save for the second one. Failed it. D3 damage. Oh, that's 3 damage. That's another dead intercessor. And the final one now, the sergeant. 6-up save. Oh, that is a failed save. It's D3 damage. Can he stay alive? If it's a 1 or a 2, he stays alive. Any other result, he's dead, and the orcs have won. It's a 4. That is another dead intercessor, and the orcs win the day yet again. These knobs are pretty powerful as soon as they get into combat, especially when you've got the power claw knobs there. I think what this demonstrates is that the orcs, in a power level game, you can really overpower orcs by giving them power fists. Whereas in a points level game, you have to pay for those power fists, so people are less likely to take them. I'll go back to me doing a talk a bit now, rather than talking from behind the camera. Yeah, the orc victory, and I'll share my thoughts in just a second. Whitewash again for the orcs. This battle report was, I say whitewash, to be fair, the Space Marines managed to strip 4 wounds off the orcs, but the size of the battlefield means the orcs are more or less guaranteed to get into combat. And with those 2 power fists, if they get into combat, they're getting 6 power fist attacks. Now, they might only hit on 4s, but realistically, with 6 attacks, you're going to hit with at least 3 every time. And you're rolling D3 damage as well. So each time you get a couple of, let's say 3 hits on a squad of 3 Marines, you're likely to take at least half of the wounds off them. And the rolling in this battle report showed that you can just strip away those wounds easily as long as you get into combat. The orcs didn't do a lot in shooting, but you wouldn't expect them to. As soon as they got into combat with the Reivers, you know, if the Reivers got that charge off in the first round, they might have been able to strip away a couple of wounds from the orcs, but they didn't even get to fight in the first combat. So the Reivers tried to charge in the first turn. What they maybe should have done was sat back, just wait for the orcs to come to them, because that's what Space Marines are good at, I think, because they've got some, well, against certain armies, definitely against combat armies, Space Marines are good at just repositioning when the battlefield's big enough and letting an army come onto them, and the shooting's reliable enough that they can take out units as long as it's like low armoured units. However, in this battle shows that there's no redundancy at power level games this low. So because there's no redundancy, you've got no more units. Like I said at the start of the video, you've got the squad of 3 intercessors instead of a squad of 5 intercessors, things like that. You're not getting another turn to have any kind of comeback. If it was a squad of 5 intercessors that the knobs rushed into in that second orc turn, then there would have been at least 4 attacks going back into the knobs, and then they might have stood a chance if they fell back in the next round of taking out the remaining knobs. But it's, you know, in power level games this low and on a battlefield this small, it really shows how the game is different to on a larger scale battlefield. It was a really quick battle, only 2 turns per side, and it just it wasn't going to go well for the Space Marines. I think they definitely need some help in the next battle report, and I think they might get that from a lieutenant of some sort, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be another battle report next week for next week's Orks video. I might have actually done a bit more work on my big mech by then, if I can just find those magnets. Don't forget, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by checking out the link in the description below. I'll try and remember to put it as a pinned comment, but I don't always. And it's a link to my Patreon where you can support the channel at $12 a month, $5 a month, or a single dollar a month. And everything, I really appreciate all the support that I've had so far, and I hope I can continue to get that support in the future. It's looking good, at least for the Mortal Realms content, and then fingers crossed people like my content enough to support the channel anyway, and I can improve I keep saying the audio quality and the lighting. I actually like my lighting setup, as long as it's as much as it's really cheap setup. I might show you in a post one day or in a short video, just explain my lighting setup. But it's a ridiculously cheap setup, and I actually like it. I think the lighting's good. Let me know if you think the lighting's good though in the comments below, if you think I can improve on the lighting somehow. Maybe I can invest in the lighting in the future. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching again, and I'll see you on the battlefield.